Hey there everybody, it's markcrilley. I'm back with another video. Today I'm doing a very special video indeed. I have received this box from Jazza's Jazza'a Art Box. I've had to sort of hang on to it for a couple of weeks because I've been doing a lot of traveling, but today finally I get to do a real unboxing. I've never opened this before, so you and I are going to explore the interior of this box together. Oh my goodness, look at this. You can cut out, make your very own Jazza Mask, which we could all use. We all want to become Jazza in a way, don't we, really? And here we go. Let's see what is inside. Oh my goodness, look at that. markcrilley, a card he made just for me. Shall I open it? Hold on, I'll open it later on and see if he intends for this to be shown to the world. Thank you for getting Jazza'a Art Box. Well, thank you for mailing it to me. Jazza, very, very kind of you. We get a bookmark to begin with. I hope I've got my autofocus on. You can see if I hold it up there. You can tell I'm not a pro at these unboxing videos. Sorry, Jazza. Oh, but look at this. Very beautifully put together. As soon as you open it, you're greeted by all this artistic stuff. And there you got the drawing. Is that Jazza as a child? I'm not sure I know. Somebody's got a child drawing pictures on the floor. And let us move on now to the beautiful art supplies within. Oh my goodness, look at this. We've got we got a marker set. Definitely going to be using that today. I've got a drawing prepared that I want to use these materials for coloring in. I'll show it to you in just a second. What have we got here? Is this a pen? Graphics. It's got to be a fine liner artist's pen. Oh, we got colored pencils. That's fantastic. I can mix all of this. You guys know how I love to do mixed media. It's incredible how much stuff is in here. We got, is that a mechanical pencil? I'm not prepared to explain what all this stuff is, guys, but look at the generosity of materials in here. It's incredible. And we've got a blending card. I've never used one before. Maybe I'll try today. You got the pencil case. This is nice. Look at this thing. This is sweet. Jazza, you are the man. I'm just saying that right now. This is very high quality stuff. Oh, and we got a sketchbook included. Man, you really got everything you need here from beginning to end to start creating incredible art. And I am definitely going to be treasuring this stuff. Now, it's time now, though, for me to show you what I intend to work on in today's video. I did a little drawing, just in pencil, of our man Jazza in his style, and I'm going to use these materials to add color to it. So let's not waste any more time. Not that I was wasting time. I was enjoying looking at all this incredible stuff, but let's go ahead and get on with it. Alright, so I'm going to begin by putting down a base layer of marker, and I just want to have you see this box that it comes in customized with Jazza. That's so sweet. That's like every artist's dream, to have a customized box of markers. And the markers themselves are really cool. Do you see the shape of this? It's like a sort of octagon, hexagon, something like that. And I've never seen markers quite like this. It's got two different sides. This is the fine-tipped point. I'm going to turn it around to the more sort of brush-tip style and get into adding some color to the skin here. Now this is interesting because he's given us two different tones of skin so that I can add shadows. In fact, what I might do is actually stop and start with the lighter marker first. Put down that's the sensible way to do it in Crilly. I'm going to start with the base layer of the lighter, and you can tell that, you know, Jazza was an artist that when he came up with this a selection of markers, he just knew from his own experience that it's very helpful to have two different shades of a color like this, where you can do the sort of main color, and then you can do the shadows with the slightly darker color. And it's not too often that you see a set of markers that takes that into account, that sort of understands the real artist's needs when it comes to certain colors. You really do. You need that shade, and then you need a slightly darker shade that you can put right on top of it for adding shading. And I don't know if I've ever seen a marker set that came with the two colors so carefully prepared like this one. But I thought I would go ahead and talk a little bit about Jazza. Anyone who's watching this video, I have to assume you already know Jazza. Come on, everyone's seen a Jazza video by now. But I just want to say how impressive it was to watch, as he came along, and he was just born to do this, He's got the artistic talent, and he is such an entertaining guy, and knows how to, put the videos together. He's got this sense of humor. I think we just all knew there's going to be no stopping this guy. I mean, he's showing us all how it's done, basically. Somebody like me, I came along early on in the YouTube days, and I was bumbling around trying to figure out how to, how do you teach people how to draw by way of a video? And little by little, I figured out a way that worked for me. But, Bailey J and Jazza and different people came along, and you could just see these guys really know how to do video stuff in a super entertaining way, in addition to being amazing artists. And it was pretty incredible to watch as both Bailey J and Jazza, but I think, did you hear the dog barking down there? Jazza just sort of took off in a way that really is unrivaled. He by way of hard work, let's just say it. I mean, the man was really committed to delivering the best possible videos, and hats off to him. It's you saw him go to 1 million subscribers, and then 2 million, and then 3 and 4 million. He's breaking records left and right. So here you see me taking out this slightly darker shade, and you can see how helpful it is to have that. So I think it's really cool that Jazza did that and made sure that you would have these two different shades, that you could put one right on top of the other, and they've been sort of adjusted to just the right level of darkness. Sometimes you're really sort of fishing around trying to find the two markers that work well together. These ones are like pre-calibrated to be perfect for doing this kind of, adding shading. And I hate to say this, though, because Jazza's hair, he did not maybe think that everyone would want to be coloring his hair with the markers the way I am. And so I'm actually going to have to break away from the marker set markers and introduce a competitor's markers just to get the shading right on his hair. But, it's a very generous box set. And Jazza had to probably make some hard choices in terms of, it can't be only markers. We got to have colored pencils. We got to have these other tools. So you're getting a representation of lots of different art supplies that you can use together in this box, and you're going to see me doing that when I switch to adding on colored pencil. And I'm sure that there are inking supplies that I can use for finishing off the illustration. But maybe that's it for now in terms of me talking about things. You've heard me talk. Some of you have heard me talk for years. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the base color of the hair and maybe the lettering, and then I'll be back and talk just a little more as I add some refinement. Yes, a little refinement with colored pencils. All right, so we got the base layer of marker in place, and before I move on, I do just want to, again, compliment Jazza for having chosen to include 3 different shades of gray in that marker set. When you're doing black and white illustrations, and, a professional like Jazza knows, you need not just one shade of gray or even 2. Having 3 different shades allows you to really do great black and white illustrations. But let's move on now to these Faber Castell, which is top of the line, colored pencil sets. They come pre-sharpened, so you can just jump right in and start using them. I'm going to go ahead and take, we got 2 different shades of brown, and I'm going to take full advantage of that with the hair and start seeing how these things work. The markers were very nice, I have to say. They came, the color came off onto the page very nicely, and I think people say that they're juicy. They got plenty of ink in them. And you can just tell a good quality marker by the way the color comes off onto the page. Now these pencils, you know, it's no surprise, those of you who know the name Faber Castell, top quality, top of the line pencils. And again, nice choice of colors. I love having two different shades of brown. You know, brown is a very important color for an artist, I find. And being limited to just one shade, particularly if it's just one shade of dark brown, I feel kind of straitjacketed by that. So I really appreciate having two different shades here. But I thought I'd take a moment and explain why, you know, I wasn't able to do a video last week, and why did it take me so long? Everyone else was doing these unboxing videos. You know, a couple of weeks back, you must be thinking, Crilly, where were you, man? Well, I was traveling. I've been doing a lot of traveling, and I thought I'd say a word or two about that. You know, we did a family trip to Japan, and that was, of course, loads of fun. I might splice in some photos. Maybe even right here in the middle of the video. Let's see if I get my act together enough to actually follow through and do that. So yeah, I love going to Japan with my family, visiting my wife's parents. Of course, all four of us, the whole family, were over there enjoying the delicious food. And then when we came back, we had to go immediately, almost 1 week later, we had to go down to Texas. I shouldn't say had to. We were looking forward to it because we were going to be celebrating my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. So that came up, like I said, 1 week after the returning from Japan. We had just barely got over the jet lag. For some reason, it takes incredibly long, for me anyway, to get over the jet lag after I come back from Japan. Not so hard adjusting to going over there. It's always returning to Michigan. It seems to take like a full week almost, I'd swear. 6-7 days before I finally am done with it. I'm going to switch now to red for adding extra shading to the skin. Very helpful to have a good sort of mid-range shade of red, although I've noticed that Jazza got a second darker shade, sort of like a maroon shade of red. So again, it's you know, you can tell he was thinking about what artists need, and he didn't just sort of grab a rainbow, you know. Oh, I bet you heard that. That's Joy, our sweet little corgi down there. She doesn't bark all day long, but only when I'm making videos. No, she every once in a while she'll let out a bark. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we were down in Texas for my parents' 60th, which was great. It was like a family reunion. And also a wedding, actually, because my niece was getting married on the same weekend. So, you know, lots of big, joyous family stuff going on there. And then, just because of the timing of things, I came back to Michigan, and like 3 days later, I was flying down to Kentucky, to Bowling Green, Kentucky, to do some drawing workshops at a library in Bowling Green. So, loads of travel. I don't normally do that much travel back to back, and that is my excuse for why I was not able to get to the Jazza unboxing until today. But definitely I want to encourage all of you to follow the link in the description of this video if you want to get one of these art boxes for yourself. I think it's a very cool idea what Jazza has done here. And sometimes you just, you go into an art store and it's kind of dismaying, and you're like, what do I need? I don't know. What do artists need? And it's nice to have someone like Jazza come along and say, you know what, here's what you need. Trust me, these are the basic tools. It's not absolutely everything you're ever going to need, but it's a great thing to start out with. So there you go with that, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up the colored pencil part of it, and maybe come back for one last little chat as I do inks and wrap up the illustration. Alright, so now it's time for the inking, and Jazza has provided a variety of inking tools, and the one that I'm kind of excited to try is this big brush tool for inking these lines. Now, I don't normally ink with a brush. It's fairly uncommon for me to try, but I thought, you know, why not? This is my chance to be like a real cartoonist. That is to say, many cartoonists do ink with brushes, dipped into ink, of course, that can get quite messy, and these brush pens are an awesome sort of replacement for that if you don't want to deal with all of the, you know, washing the brush and, you know, just accidentally spilling ink and all that stuff. But I gotta say, this is really a pleasure to use. It really does behave like an actual brush, and of course the benefit of using a brush rather than a ink pen is you have a variety in your line width. And again, I'm not an expert at this, but people who have used these sort of brush pens or actual brush and ink can get incredibly beautiful lines, because it's not just a simple, it's not always the same width. And there's just a beauty to a line that varies in width from beginning to end, that it has a professional look to it. You know, there's just no getting around it. You look at a lot of Disney illustrations and so forth, and you'll see this variety of thickness in the line. Now, I'm going to finish this off in a moment, all of the different inking, but I did want to pull out one of these other brushes, or not brushes, but ink pens, and show you, because you get a set of 4 different ink pens here, one of which is actually a brush, much like the one that I was using, except I think smaller. Allows you to do more detailed work. But this is more of like a traditional inking pen that allows me to do the sort of inking that I'm really used to. Which, you know, when you use a brush, there's a kind of a give to the brush naturally enough, and when you push down on it, it would almost sort of, you know, turn into a big blob. You know, so you have to carry it with a lighter touch. I've gotten used to inking with pens, and in particular the Prismacolor, or not the Prismacolor, but the Sakura Pigma Micron. But I gotta say that this pen is just as good, it seems to me. The fine liner graphics, it really responds much the same way. And so yeah, you're not getting just one of these, you're getting 3 different thicknesses, one of which is super, super thin for those of you who like to do detailed work. So there you go. That's my little bit about the inking stage, and not much more to say except how grateful I am to Jazza for having sent this to me. I did read his letter. I'm not going to share it with you because it is sort of like just him saying many kind things to me, and I don't want to turn this into a video about me, as tempting as that might be. But it was very nice of him to send this to me, and I do apologize for it taking a couple of weeks to finally get to making this video, but at least we finally got to it. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this up in time-lapse, and I'll be back with a few final words. Alright, well that brings us to the end of the video. You can see I brought out the gray marker, one of the 3 gray markers, to add a little drop shadow. Perfect shade there for adding drop shadows. It's nice to just have that pre-selected. And that's going to have to be it. I want to thank Jazza again for mailing me the Jazza'a Art Box. Please follow that link that's in the description if you're interested in getting one for yourself. I can really stand behind it. It's a fantastic assortment of art materials. But I think it's time for me to go ahead and lay down this hexagonal, is that what it is? Hexagonal marker. Time for me to lay it down and bring this video to an end. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.